Today for 5-Minute Tones, we're going to have a look at some of the Class A amps. We've got a selection of Voxes and Vox derivatives in the Axe FX3. If you want models of actual Vox amps, these are listed as Class A. You've got a 15-watt version and a 30-watt version. We've also got the Morgan boutique versions of Vox amps, the AC20s, modeled on the bass and treble channel with either a 12AX7 or an EF86. And we also have, probably one of the most famous boutique amps ever, the Matchless DC30, modeled as the Matchbox D30. There's a couple of other amps, I believe, maybe some of the divided by 13 amps. I'm not 100% sure. They're essentially Class A amps as well. But for this video, my favorite Class A amp is the Morgan AC20 12AX7 treble. And what I've done is I paired it with this factory IR, number 236 in factory one, which is an AC15 IR Celestium Blue speaker by York Audio, shot with an RCA mic. And basically, we could stop the video right here because when you plug a Telecaster in on the bridge pickup with these kind of settings, you basically have a perfect Vox sound for me. And there we go, cycling through a couple of the pickup selections. It's got the perfect amount of chime and grit, basically everything I like about a Vox amp. I'm actually not going to touch anything on this because I think it sounds so good. It's such a killer combo. If you're playing a darker guitar, I would suggest bringing the high cut down. If you're playing a really, really bright guitar, then turn the high cut up. And then we can adjust the input drive. If you turn it down, you get really, really nice glassy cleans. Perfect for that kind of stuff. So I've actually done a lot of recording with this amp. This is kind of my go-to if I'm doing a session where it needs like a clean thing. So I'll show you a few enhancements you can chuck on it. One that I pinch from Yek over on the forum is to use the STD Preamp. So we'll drop that in. Basically all I do is turn the drive down to about 1.5. This is the effect that the STD Preamp has on everything. It just kind of sweetens everything up. That's just a magic combination with that. And, the Class A amps are kind of loved by country players, roots players, rock players, worship players, obviously guys like the Edge from U2 as well. It's such a versatile amp. Even like, the Morgan stuff, Tosin Abasi uses a Morgan amp nowadays, which is saying something. They're super versatile. And one thing that I would do to this to kind of pad it out is basically use it like a platform for delays and reverbs and other pedals, much in the same way that you would use a real amp. So let's just kind of do the obvious thing, whether we're playing worship music or you're playing U2 or so much pop stuff. Nearly every pop thing I've ever recorded, I've used this setup. Dotted eighth note delay with the Deluxe Mind Guy gives us this. Which is beautiful when you do some swells. Some of you have mentioned as well that 5-minute tones. It's kind of a misleading description. It's more like 7.5-minute tones, but 5-minute tones is way catchier. So I'm sticking with that. If you were doing a pop thing or a worship thing, kind of whatever your vibe is, chuck a big reverb on there. Actually, don't chuck a reverb on there. Do this. Use the Plex delay block and bring up the Plex verb. And then what we'll do with the Plex verb is we'll bring the high cut down and the low cut up. And then let's turn the mix up a little bit. And this is going to give us like a big pad kind of sound. We can turn the diffusion mix up to about 50%. I love this Plex reverb. It's one of my favorite effects in the Axe FX3. So that's awesome for lush kind of stuff. As an alternative, try a different drive. Try something a bit gnarlier like the Tone of Kings. Basically turn the drive up and the level up, and this just sends this amp absolutely wild. With a telly, it gets into that kind of rocky territory. So there you go. That's this episode of 7.5 Minute Tones over. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit subscribe, check out my other videos, and if you're an Axe FX3 user, go and fire these settings up and make some music with it. I'll see you all real soon.